Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We have a time for change call tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Going to dispel things. The only prayer any of us said in our whole life was thank you. That would suffice. Meister Eckhart. When we have this storm outside of us, about the best way to describe it. Everything's blowing and flying and banging and ripping and tearing. And then we're in the center. Now it's a choice, and it's also a conscious awareness for any of us to determine for ourselves. It's like, am I going to go into that storm? Or am I going to stay here? I can watch the storm. I can see everything that's going on. But do I really want to get in it? And that's a choice we all make. Now, it's for most, it isn't a conscious thing. For most, it's just habit, and they go into the storm. And that's where the suffering is. Now, that doesn't mean that we cannot, kind of interact with the storm at times and experience, but we don't have to be in it. We can be outside of it. And because we have this, humanity is conscious. We're a conscious civilization. But the ironic thing about it is that we don't know we're conscious. And so we stay in this bicameral or schizophrenic world. This is why that you see the majority of people, wearing masks, doing these things, and throughout history, where they blindly, unconsciously follow things, authority, leadership, direction, external influences. Now, in order for us as a civilization to move forward, to evolve, we've got to know that we're conscious. Because when you don't know you're conscious, you stay in that void of the external reality, the control mechanism, the slave application of civilization. A lot of us are really tough on ourselves throughout our lives. Now, we're not consciously aware of it. We say things to ourselves, do things with ourselves that create distress. And gratitude is one of the most powerful and transformational energies on the planet. Every time we are spontaneously grateful for how this universe has deeply and eternally loved us, we send out a high vibrational energy that starts magnetizing everything, even more abundance into our lives. Each time we bathe ourselves in the energy of gratitude, we expand the knowingness inside us that we are truly an abundant being who lacks nothing at all. Gratitude is an incredible manifesting energy. It allows us to tap into our own infinite, creative energy where we cannot feel fear, scarcity, or doubt. When we embrace gratitude as a way of being, we are living in the consciousness daily. We've surrendered to knowing that we are already deeply eternally loved with everything we need, and are thankful for all that is. And from this place of being at one with all that is now, we become a massive magnet for attracting even more success, love, abundance, and divine beings into our lives. Take a few moments right now to imagine what your life would look like if you were constantly living from a place of gratitude all day long, 24/7. When you wake up in the morning, it's automatic gratitude. When you get out of bed, gratitude. During the course of the day, gratitude. Into the evening and night, gratitude. And it continues. We always have the choice to be grateful for what is, or not grateful for what is. We have the power to choose what kinds of thoughts and feelings we focus on and eventually manifest into our lives. We can choose to adopt an unending attitude of gratitude, or we can remain strapped to the judgmental, fear-based merry-go-round of the mind. Choosing gratitude is choosing freedom, and will make our lives easier than we could ever imagine. It will bring us such a vast experience of love that we will freely feel and experience our own soul. Embracing gratitude as a way of living our daily lives is like opening the door to a brilliant new world where the sun is always shining its warmth inside our hearts wherever we are. We naturally feel the divine love and abundance that is inside of us and around us. A heart that is brimming with gratitude does not allow the mind to be cluttered with ideas, opinions, and attachment to desires. It knows itself as the source of love itself. Now, if you have trouble staying in touch with your heart's natural grateful connection, you may have let your mind or an inner judge attempt to squash this flame of love. The fire is not dead by any means. It just needs a little stirring. The heart that is forever thankful always breaks free from the ego's contracted thought patterns. Its natural warmth is always able to receive and give love freely. Gratitude is one of the most enlightening life experiences we can access at any time. We always feel lighter and less burdened by the end of the day. When we practice directing this appreciation toward ourselves, others, and the world, there is a natural de-armoring process that happens. You can choose to start each day with shedding that protective armor around your heart and opening your heart to this divine feeling of appreciating everything. Anytime that we are not feeling gratitude, simply refocus on what you like, love, or appreciate about a situation. It's that simple. Gratitude is always within our reach. It is just a question of our focus reigning in our mind. If and when you feel that your shields are too thick, become quiet enough inside yourself to get in touch with the core of your heart. Create some time to relax and be very, very, very still. This will help you dig beneath the shields, resistance, and wounding from the past. Use the breath as a vehicle to take you deeper inside so that you can go beneath this false protection. All armor is created for the ego, by the ego, and within the ego. All armor is created for the ego, by the ego, and within the ego. It is all unnecessary weight, since the soul is like sunlight and does not need defending. Once this armor is released, you will naturally feel a lighter, warmer feeling inside, and a deep state of gratitude will surface and pour through you into this world. Taking off one's ego armor can be a little tricky. In any moment that our mind gets derailed, goes down the dark path of frustration, victim story, fear, or complaining, stop it immediately. Switch back to the gratitude track. It can be as easy as asking yourself, what's one thing that I am grateful for right in this moment, right now? Good news is that there is always at least one thing that any of us can be grateful for, no matter what is happening in our lives. Perhaps it's that we have the power to imagine a new you, your health, good friend, or just that you are still breathing. Have you ever experienced something where you've been in a doldrum, right? Some catalyst caused you to slip down into the pit emotionally. And you might be going somewhere. You might be somewhere. You might see something. Like somebody who's crippled or can't talk or can't see or doesn't have a limb. A lot of things. But have you ever discovered the fact that it shows up in front of you and you're drawn to it? And something comes over you from within, and all of a sudden you say to yourself, I am so grateful that I have all my limbs, that I can see, that I can walk, that I can talk. The taking for granted, which we've all done, none of us are exempt from it. When you do something or you have something, at first it's something, right? Okay. And then after a while, it's nothing. We don't give it the time of day. It kind of is old stuff, right? But in the beginning, when it's brand new and shining and we really want it and we get it, for a bit, right? It's great, isn't it? It's exciting. Now imagine you had never traveled around the world. You had never traveled anywhere. And all of a sudden you have the opportunity to travel. At first, it's very exciting. You get really, really enthusiastic about it. You're going to meet new people, going to different parts of the planet, so on and so forth. But then after a while, as you're continually traveling, meeting new people, interacting, it gets to the point where it is taken for granted. It's just every day, you know. Well, I've been here, now I'm going to go fly here, I'm going to do this over here, and I meet this. And you do it year after year after year after year after year. And then you come across somebody that was in that same position that you were in before you had the opportunity to travel, and they have the same look in their eyes and the same enthusiasm that you once had. The anticipation of experiencing You might have let's say you buy a new dress, right? The dress is something you really wanted, this dress. You wanted to have this dress for evening attire and go out and so on and so forth. And so you get the dress. You wear the dress. And at first it's fantastic. You feel like $1 million in this dress. And then as the days and the years go by, or the months, it's just a dress. It no longer has the shine that it once had when you first obtained it. It's like anything. So when we go into gratitude, this is constantly new. Everything is new. It never dies. It never depletes itself. Can you imagine that we all had the attitude of gratitude 24/7 through infinity and beyond? Do you think anything would get old from our perspective? No, it wouldn't. We would appreciate and be grateful for it the day we obtain it and every day thereafter. Have you ever just been sitting somewhere, dazing, where you're just staring, and you're really not thinking about anything? But you go into this like a trance. You just stare. You're just staring. And in that moment, this feeling comes from within, and it overflows as you say, I am deeply grateful for this very moment that I am in, the now, that right in this moment. I'm deeply grateful for everything in this now. Whenever we cannot see the silver lining around the dark clouds in our lives, we can simply open our hearts, breathe deeply, and then think about as many things as we can to be grateful for. In each moment, there are so many incredible things that we can be grateful for, large and small. And just open our hearts, relax, look at the big picture, and soon we will realize how truly, deeply loved we all already are. Living in this state of constant gratitude, believe it or not, it doesn't take work. It simply takes more awareness. It doesn't take work. It simply takes more awareness. Doesn't that make sense? If you're aware of something, you will have the gratitude. If you're not, you won't. Gratitude is our most natural way. It's our natural state of being when we are present in the moment. When we connect with our natural essence and pure consciousness within, we can see and feel the divinity within everything. This is not something strange that needs to be learned, like driving a car, juggling cantaloupes, whatever it may be. It's as easy as taking a fresh breath of air. And it's a choice. I do not believe that in awareness that any of us would choose otherwise, other than to be grateful. So make it your number one priority, starting right now, to be aware of gratitude. Notice how much it is already a part of your life and what it will feel like to bathe in it 24 hours a day. Years ago, we created gratitude gatherings. That might sound strange to some people. But it really helped a lot of people gain awareness about everything around them. You get together with friends or family, colleagues, you join in an evening of appreciation and gratitude. You hold the intention for everyone to join you in adopting a new gratitude habit and start a gratitude circle. We still have gratitude circles going on around the planet. We started these back in 2000, 98, 2000, and they're still going strong. This one simple, powerful meeting each week can dramatically change your life forever. Forever, forever. The basic format is to invite those people who know you best in your life. It's much more if the people who don't like you or appreciate you in some way are part of this transformative experience. Have each person sit in a circle with one person in the middle of the circle. Everyone takes turns looking directly into the eyes of the person in the circle, telling them why they are grateful for this person and giving them an authentic compliment. Then switch people so that everybody has a turn to be the person in the middle of the circle to receive gratitude. Let people know that if they cannot say anything authentic or true to their heart, they can simply soul gaze in just that person's eyes for 5 minutes while holding their hands. Every time we have done a gratitude circle, and it's always been this way, truly miraculous experiences started to occur in everyone's lives. This amazing experience is one that will raise your vibration and allow you to manifest the life you desire. It's very powerful. Now, some people there are things that they have not forgiven about themselves or internally surrendered. So these things haunt them. It's difficult for them to do this with another person holding their hands and looking directly into their eyes for 5 minutes. We had people pull away because it frightened them, and they got very nervous, and they got irritable and frustrated and guilt-ridden. And we watched this, experienced it. But all in all, they eventually came around. And you can practice this, for the next 7 days. If you choose, take 15 minutes every morning to practice being this silent, still, frozen statue inside. Freeze yourself. Become the grand observer who watches all mental activity and outer storms go by. With your eyes closed, watch each thought that comes in like you were watching a cloud pass by. Don't judge or interact with that thought. Simply become the observer and continue to watch it. If you become wrapped up in your thoughts, simply notice what has happened and go back to watching each thought. The more often you practice being physically still, the more you will naturally feel calm and centered, no matter what type of inner or outer storm is brewing. We have this, I believe it's a propensity that this aloneness, right? People being alone. And aloneness is our nature. And the first thing to realize is that whether you want or not, you are alone. And when we understand that it is our very nature, now, we can try to forget it. We can try not to be alone by making friends, having lovers, mixing in the crowd. But whatever we do remains just on the surface. Deep inside, our aloneness is unreachable and untouchable. A strange accident, I guess, happens to every human being. As they are born, the very situation of their birth begins in a family, doesn't it, mostly? And there is no other way, because the human child is the weakest child in the whole of existence. The human child is the weakest child in the whole of existence. Other animals are born complete. A dog is going to remain a dog his whole life. He is not going to evolve, grow. Yes, he will become aged and old, but he will not become more intelligent. He will not become more aware. He will not become enlightened. In that case, all the animals remain exactly at the point of their birth. Nothing essential changes in them. Their death, their birth are horizontal in one line. Only man has the possibility of going vertical, upward, not just horizontal. Most of humanity believes and behaves like other animals. Life is just growing old, not growing up. Life is just growing old, not growing up. Growing up and growing old are totally different experiences. Have you ever met people, could be in their 80s, even 90s, grew old but never grew up? Man is born in a family among human beings. From the very first moment, he is not alone. Hence, he gets a certain psychology of always remaining with people. In aloneness, he starts feeling scared, unknown fears. He's not exactly aware of what he is afraid of. But as he moves out of the crowd, something inside him becomes uneasy. To be with others, he feels cozy, at ease, comfortable. It is because of this reason he never comes to know the beauty of. He never comes to know the beauty of aloneness. The fear prevents him. Because he was born in a group, he remains part of a group. And as he grows in age, he starts making new groups, new associations, new friends. Already existing collectives don't satisfy him. The nation, the religion, the political party. He creates his own new associations, Rotary Club, Lions Club, whatever it may be. But all these strategies are just in service of one thing. One thing only. Never be alone. The whole life, this whole life experience is of being together with people. Aloneness seems almost like a death. In a way, it is a death. It is the death of the personality that you have created in the crowd. That is a gift of others to you. The moment you move out of the crowd, you also move out of your personality. In the crowd, you know exactly who you are. You know your name. You know your degrees. You know your profession. You know everything that is needed for your passport, your identity card. But the moment you move out of the crowd, what is your identity? Who are you? Suddenly you become aware that you are not your name. Your name was given to you. You are not your race. What relationship has race with your consciousness? Your heart is not Hindu or Mohammedan. Your being is not conformed to any political boundaries of a nation. Your consciousness is not part of any organization or church. Who are you? Suddenly your personality starts dispersing. This is the fear, the death of the personality. Now, you will have to discover freshly. You will have to ask for the first time who you are. You will have to start meditating on the question, who am I? And you'll choose to do it. There is a fear that you may not be at all. Perhaps you were nothing but a combination of all the opinions of the crowd, that you were nothing but your personality. Nobody wants to be nothing. Nobody wants to be nobody. And in fact, everybody is a nobody. There's a very beautiful story. Alice has reached Wonderland. She came to meet the king, and the king asked, Alice, did you meet a messenger coming toward me? She said, I met nobody. The king said, if you met nobody, why has he not arrived yet? Alice was very much puzzled. She said, you're not understanding me rightly. Nobody is nobody. The king said, that is obvious that nobody is nobody. But where is he? He should have reached here by this time. It simply means nobody walks slower than you. And naturally, Alice was very much annoyed and forgot that she was talking to the king. She said, nobody walks faster than me. Now the whole conversation goes on with that nobody. She understands that he is saying, nobody walks slower than you, and I am a fast walker. I have come from the other world to Wonderland, a small world, and he is insulting me. Naturally, she retorts, nobody walks faster than me. The king said, if that is right, then why has he not arrived? And this way the discussion continues. Everybody is a nobody. So the first problem for a seeker is to understand exactly the nature of aloneness. It means nobodiness. It means dropping your personality, which is a gift to you from the crowd. As you move away out of the crowd, you cannot take that gift with you in your aloneness. In your aloneness, you will have to discover again a fresh, and nobody can guarantee whether you will find anybody inside or not. Those who have reached to aloneness have found nobody there. I really mean nobody. No name, no form, but a pure presence, a pure life, nameless, formless. This is exactly the true resurrection. And it certainly needs courage. Only very courageous people have been able to accept with joy their nobodiness, their nothingness. Their nothingness is their pure being. It is a death and a resurrection both. Having just God for your whole life, then you become very happy proclaiming, I am the only begotten Son of God. And then you never talk about God's family, his brother, his wife, his other sons and daughters. In the whole of eternity, what has God been doing? He does not have a TV to waste time, to pass time. He does not have any possibility of having a movie hall. What does this poor fellow go on doing? It is a well-known fact that in poor countries, the population goes on exploding for the simple reason that the poor man has no other free entertainment. The only free entertainment is to produce children. Although it is in the long run very costly, right now there is no ticket, no problem, no standing in the queue. What has God been doing for the whole of eternity? He's created only one son? Now, it would have been better if God had a few brothers, sisters, and uncles. Then you could ask for help from somebody else. If he is not listening to you, he is praying and he is angry, saying, why have you forgotten me? Have you given me up? But there's no answer. He is waiting for the miracle. The whole crowd has gathered to see the miracle. By and by, it starts dispersing. It is not hot. They are waiting unnecessarily. Nothing is going to happen. If something were going to happen, it would have happened. After 6 hours, there were only 3 ladies left. We're talking about the alleged crucifixion of Jesus Christ. After 6 hours, there were only 3 ladies left who still believed that a miracle might happen. One was Jesus' mother. Naturally, mothers go on believing that their children are geniuses. Every mother, without exception, believes that she has given birth to a child who is a giant. Another woman who loved Jesus was a prostitute, Mary Magdalene. That woman, although she was a prostitute, must have loved Jesus. Even the disciples, the so-called apostles, who became second to Jesus in importance in the history of Christianity, all 12 escaped just out of fear of being caught and of being recognized because they were always hanging around with Jesus everywhere. You never can trust the crowd. If they were caught, they might have been crucified. If not crucified, at least beaten, stoned to death. Only 3 women were left. The third was another woman who loved Jesus. It was love that remained in the last moments in the form of these 3 women. All those disciples must have been with Jesus just in order to get into paradise. It is always good to have good contacts. And you can't find a better contact than the only begotten Son of God. Just behind him, they would also be able to enter through the gates of paradise. Their disciplehood was a kind of exploitation of Jesus, hence there was no courage. It was cunning and clever, but not courageous. Only love can be courageous. Do you love yourself? Do you love this existence? Do you love this beautiful life, which is a gift? It has been given to you without your being even ready for it, without your deserving it, without your being worthy of it. If you love this existence, which has given life to you, which goes on providing every moment of life and nourishment to you, you will find courage. And this courage will help you to stand alone like a cedar of Lebanon, high, reaching to the stars, but alone. In aloneness, you will disappear as an ego and personality. You will find yourself as life itself, deathless and eternal. Unless you are capable of being alone, your search for truth will remain a failure. Your aloneness is your truth. Your aloneness is your divineness. The function of a master is to help you to stand alone. Meditation is just a strategy to take away your personality, your thoughts, your mind, your identity with the body, and leave you absolutely alone inside. Just a living fire. And once you have found your living fire, you will know all the joys and all the ecstasies that human consciousness is capable of. The old woman watched her grandson eat his soup with the wrong spoon, grasp his knife with the wrong end, eat the main course with his hands, and pour tea into the saucer and blow on it. Hasn't watching your mother and father at the dinner table taught you anything, she asked. Yes, said the boy, chewing with his mouth open. Never to get married. He has learned a great lesson. Remain alone. It is really very difficult to be with others, but we are accustomed from our very birth to be with others. It may be miserable, it may be a suffering, it may be a torture, but we are accustomed. At least it is well known. One is afraid to step into the darkness, beyond the territory. But unless you go beyond the territory of the collective mass, you cannot and will not find yourself. Some of you might have remembered Groucho Marx. He made a beautiful statement for us to remember. I find television very educating. Every time someone turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book. I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book. The teacher of a class of 10-year-olds is too shy to conduct the sex education class. And so she asked her class to make this a homework project. Little Jaime asked his father, who mumbles something about a stork. His grandmother says he came from a cabbage patch, and his great-grandmother blushes and whispers that children come from the great ocean of existence. The next day, little Jaime is called by the teacher to report on this project. Jaime says to the teacher, I'm afraid there is something wrong in our family. Apparently, nobody has made love for 3 generations. In fact, very few people have loved at all. They have pretended, have been hypocrites, deceiving not only others, but have deceived themselves as well. You can love authentically only when you are. Right now, you are only a part of a crowd, a cog in the machine. How can you love? Because you are not. First, be. First, know yourself. In your aloneness, you will discover what it is to be. And out of that awareness of your being, love flows. And much, much more. Aloneness should be your only search. And it does not mean that you have to go to the mountains. You could be alone in the marketplace. It is simply a question of being aware, alert, watchful, remembering that you are only your watchfulness. Then you are alone wherever you are. You may be in a crowd. You may be in the mountains. You may be on a beachfront. Makes no difference. You're just the same watchfulness. In the crowd, you watch the crowd. In the mountains, you watch the mountains. With open eyes, you watch existence. With closed eyes, you watch yourself. You are only one thing, the watcher. And this watcher is the greatest realization. This is your Buddha nature. This is your enlightenment, your awakening. This should be your only discipline. Only this makes you a disciple, this discipline of knowing your aloneness. Otherwise, what makes you a disciple? You have been deceived on every point in your life. You have been told that to believe in a master makes you a disciple. That is absolutely wrong. Otherwise, everybody in the world is a disciple. Somebody believes in Jesus. Somebody believes in Buddha. Somebody believes in Krishna. Somebody believes in Mahavira. Everybody believes in somebody, but nobody is a disciple. Because to be a disciple does not mean to believe in a master. To be a disciple means to learn the discipline of being yourself, of being your true self. To be a disciple means to learn the discipline of being yourself, of being your true self. And that experience is hidden the very treasure of this life. And that experience you become for the first time an emperor. Otherwise, you will remain a beggar in the crowd. There are two kinds of beggars, poor beggars and rich beggars. But they are all beggars. Even your kings and your queens are beggars. Only those people, very, very, very few people, who have stood alone in their being, in their clarity, in their light, who have found their own light, who have found their own flowering, who have found their own space, they can call their home their eternal home. Those few people are the emperors. This whole universe is their empire. They don't need to conquer it. It is already conquered. By knowing yourself, you have conquered it. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and then an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Focus on the breath. Sometime today, get out a pen and a paper. For about 20 minutes, write down everything that you appreciate about yourself. Small or big, doesn't matter. Just keep writing these positive statements down. Then choose the top 3 most emotionally moving appreciations on your list. Sit down and feel these ideas inside your body. Notice where you keep them inside. Post your list on a wall where you can read it and add to it any time in the future. Whatever you discover, revisit it again and again and again throughout the day. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night the following morning. And we'll return here tonight for the Time for Change call. Wednesday, October 19th, 2022, 9 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow, Thursday, October 20, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And be good to yourself.